This is the 10th and probably the last. We'll finish the Maimar, the discourse of the Rebbe about what is Rosh HaShanna and what is the Shofar and what is the great Shofar that will be sounded in the future to gather all the Jews, to wake up all the Jews. So we said all the Jews will come to the land of Israel and bow down in the Holy Temple, which the Messiah, Moshiach, will build. We explained previously that the shofar is a commandment. As a commandment, the word commandment in Hebrew means connection. Mitzvah is also from the language of tzevet, tzavta. It connects the Creator with His creation. And what causes this connection is the pleasure that God gets when His will is done. Now we explained that really the creation is not separate from the Creator. In fact, the creation is really nothing. It's being created every instant brand new by God. And when did this start, this begin, that God decided to create the world? Was in the 6 days of creation, the 6th of which was when God created man, and that's what Rosh HaShanna. And man immediately declared that God is the king of the world. This is very unusual, because man also had the feeling that he's the boss, and that in fact this feeling eventually brought to him just a few hours after he was created to eat from the tree. But how to fix this up is by declaring that God is the king, and that's what's done by the shofar. And the shofar, we said, is a scream from the inside of the heart, using something physical from this world to serve the Creator of the universe, to return energy back to the Creator, so that this world will become a blessed place. That's what the regular shofar does. Omnam bad bichdei, in order lahamshich, to draw down a blessing and an awareness of God. Be'elu, and those people sheyatzumi v'seir ishtalsha, that went out from the whole entire chain of creation. They deny that there is such a thing as a Creator. They think that everything is natural, or they don't think about it at all. They have no connection to Judaism, and no connection to God, and no connection to Torah or the commandments. They don't feel that they were created for any purpose whatsoever, except just to live and to die. Shazeh, how can these people be aroused? Not by the regular shofar, not even by the great blessings brought by the regular shofar. Shazeh bo mipenei shtei sibot. People get far away from God from 2 reasons. One is mitzad riboy tanugim, because of tremendous pleasure and success, begashmi is physical. Or lehepech, or the opposite, machmas matzor or matzok, because it's so difficult that people leave Judaism and they get away from God. V'zeu bo of the Eretz Ashur. That's what it means, that the lost people from the land of Ashur, hanidachim Eretz Mitzrayim, and the pushed away people in the land of Egypt. Ashur is from the language of richness and pleasure. V'hua ovdim, these people are lost, be'eretz Ashur, in the land of richness, in the land of success, of pleasure. She'machmat riboy tanugim, because of the pleasures that there are in this world, physical world. Nase v'yishman yisharon, holy people become fat and they leave God. And this also includes spiritual pleasures. Some of the Eastern religions, for instance, say that why should you have temporary physical pleasures when you can get permanent spiritual pleasures? But still, the main thing is for you. You're still living in a world of pleasure. You are God. Mitzrayim, what is Mitzrayim? Hu milashan meitzar, is from narrowness, difficulty. Shezeu v'nidachim beretz Mitzrayim. These are the people who are pushed away into Egypt. Shemachmat, because of a matzor matzok, because of their difficulty and their, the narrowness that they're in. Ein lahem leiv, they haven't got a heart, ladat, to feel or to think about God. Kamoshe katuv, like it says, v'lo shamu Moshe, that the Jewish people did not listen to Moshe in Egypt, mikotzer ruach, because things were so difficult for them. Hine bichdei, in order to pull gam be'elu, in order to affect these people, that they should wake up to their Judaism. Shene'evdu, that they are lost, v'nidchu, and they're pushed away. Miseder ishtalshut, from the whole chain of creation, they don't see God in anything in their lives. They don't believe that there's a Creator. Tzorich l'shofar gadol, you have to have what's called a big shofar. Davka only. What does it mean big? It means big without any limit. Shalamayla mishtalshel is totally above any sort of definition. V'zeu v'haya bayom hahu yitaka b'shofar gadol. That's what it means. In that day will be sounded a great shofar. Uboa o ovdim, that the lost people in the land of Ashur, v'nidachim, and the people that are pushed away in the land of Mitzrayim. This is what Isaiah, Yeshaya, the prophet, was referring to. Shebegeula atida, that in the future redemption, which we are promised that there will be something, and it'll be by means of Moshiach. There's a book which is called the Sefer Mitzvahs Katan, and it said, how do we know there will be such a thing as Moshiach? From the first commandment of the 10 commandments, I am God that took you out of Egypt. The nature of God is to take Jews out of all of their problems and to awaken in them true Jewish identity. And just as he did it back then by means of a person, a human being, Moshe, so in the future he'll do it by means of Mashiach. The difference is Moshe only took out the people that were able to leave Egypt. The rest of them died in the darkness. The future, every Jew is going to go out. There's a saying that you can take the Jews out of Egypt. God can take the Jews out of Egypt, but he can't take the Egypt out of Jews. Only the Mashiach will do that. That's going to be the future redemption. When Yetzu Kol Yisrael, well, all of the Jews will go out me'agalus from their exile. The Jews will start to realize how wonderful, beautiful, joyous, meaningful, blessed it is to be a Jew, and how much the Jewish people, what an obligation we have, responsibility to make the whole world a blessed and meaningful place. Va'af echad, not even one Jew, lo yishaer, will remain begalut in exile, chas v'shalom, God forbid. The Kamo, just like B'yatziat Mitzrayim, just like when the Jews left Egypt. Lo nish'ar af Yehudi, there was not one Jew. Begalut, in exile. Unfortunately, back then, the ones who didn't go out died. Cain, so will be gam begu'ulatid, in the future redemption. Al yedei Mashiach tzikenu, by means of the Mashiach. Ki amet seitchem me'eretz Mitzrayim. In other words, even those Jews that don't believe in the whole business, the whole idea of redemption and the Jewish people, and the God and Egypt and going out of getting the Torah, by them, the whole thing is totally less than meaningless. It makes them shudder just to hear that people believe in such things. These people will wake up and realize, whoa, what a Jew is. It's connected to something above being infinite. It's infinitely good and beneficial to the world. That's what it says, Ki amet seitchem, like the days of going out of Eretz Mitzrayim, of the land of Egypt, er'enu niflaot, I will show you miracles. This is a prophecy from Micha, from the prophet Micha. Shekol echad, that each and every one ve'echad miYisrael, every single Jew, Yetzeh mi'agalud, will come out, will leave Egypt, will leave the exile, will leave their personal exile, will awaken in himself infinite good. V'gam ovdim be'eretz Ashur, even the lost people, the people who are lost in richness and success, v'nidachim, and the people who are pushed away in the land of Egypt, they push themselves away from God. Nevertheless, bichdei lefol gam aleim, in order to affect them, to wake them up, tzorich l'shofar gadol, there has to be a big shofar. What does it mean? A shofar which is l'mayla mishtalz, it's above all measure, above all the worlds, above all creation, above all existence, connected only to the Creator. Like we said before, Barucha, Sha'al Yadeh, that by means of Tikiyat Shofar, by means of the sounding of the shofar now in the synagogues, Mamshichim, we draw mipnimiyot atainug, the essential pleasure that God has, mi'atzmot, from the essence and the mahut and the very being of God. But what would we build the shofar? All the Jews sounding the shofar now won't do it. Afal pikein hari gam b'hamshacha ba'atzmut. Even this blessing that we elicit by sounding the shofar now, yesh kamo fanim, there are many ways. V'zeu achiluk bein shofar stam the shofar gadol. That's the difference between shofar stam and shofar gadol. There's a long, beautiful story that the first Rebbe of Chabad, who today happens to be his birthday, Chayalul, that he said, I am sure that France will lose the war. He was in the time that France was taking over all of Europe. France fought against Russia, and they were winning. And he said, I'm sure that they will lose. And he sounded the shofar. And his sounding the shofar, after he sounded the shofar, he said this affected that the French will lose, and so it was, they lost. V'hamshacha, it's a long story. V'hamshacha, sha'al yedei, that the blessing that comes down by means of the shofar, nowadays, stam, regularly, im hayata milmayla, even though that it's above creation, hari ofen hamshacha, but the way it draws a blessing down is mitlabish b'bechinat ishtalshlut. It is somehow or other affecting the spiritual worlds. It comes in a normal way. That's what all the Kabbalistic books write about. Ukamavur b'siddur, like it's explained in the Siddur of Rosh HaShanna. Shebechinat penimiyot atainuk, that the inner pleasure of God from the emanator himself is drawn down, but penimiyot, in the inside of all of the worlds. Inside means it's appreciated. Penimiyot hamochin u penimiyot amidot, the inside of awareness and consciousness of the angels, etc., all the worlds, and also the emotions. They're affected. Masha'enkin, which is not the case, hamshacha, the blessing of the shofar gadol that will be in the future. Who it is, shekamo shehi b'shorsho, it is as it is in its source, lamayla mayla, a much, much above any sort of order of creation. The essence of God comes into this world, is revealed. Now the essence of God in a way is already here. God is already here, but we don't feel it. Uba'ofen kazeh, but the shofar gadol will cause such a revelation. Nimshach lamata below, beli kalak below, without any limits. Therefore every Jew will be affected, and it will be affected to the essence of his soul. In every way. Therefore, he poelet, it causes gam alo ovdim, even the lost people in Eretz Ashur, v'hanidachim Eretz Mitzrayim, and the people that are pushed away in the land of Egypt. Even these low people that want to have nothing to do with God, say, good, you don't have to have anything to do with God. This affects something which is above being affected, a God. This comes from the essence of the Creator himself. Im heim yotzu me'agvolos, they will also leave the exile. V'yishtachavu l'Hashem, and they will bow down to Hashem b'Har HaKodesh, in the holy mountain in Jerusalem. V'kol zeh ba'ofen da'achishan, and it will happen in a quick way. Below tzarichem l'shum inyan, there won't be any other preconditions. Gam lo avoda, you won't even have to have the service of malchus, of accepting God as a king. Zichronos, drawing down God into the world. All of these holy things, the people won't have to be holy. They'll suddenly, all of a sudden, in one instant say, I'm a Jew, and that'll affect their whole being. Shezeu echad me'apurushin, that's what I mean, shofar gadol. That now, ein ze shofar gadol, now it's not a great shofar. Shahari tzorich, we need now to say the sentences of malchus, and it depends on our intention to accept God as a king, and we want to bless the world, which is not the case in the future. Shalo yitztarchul inyan acher, there won't need anything else. It'll be pure good, pure godliness. The Iraq shofar, there'll just be the sound of this shofar. Harizeh shofar gadol, this is called the great shofar, that it'll affect everything, constantly, in every world. Uvakol echad ve'echad, for every single Jew. Gama ovdim, even the people that are lost in the land of Ashur, and the people that are pushed away in the land of Egypt. Yetzu, they'll go out from the gullus and ofen HaShanna in a way that's quick. Like it says, Va'aru al anani shamaya, that they will fly on clouds of heaven. V'yishtachavu l'Hashem b'Har HaKodesh, and they will bow down to God in the holy mountain Yerushalayim, the Biat Moshiach Tzikenu, in the arrival of the Moshiach, Shehu Basar V'Dam, a human being just like King David was, B'meira B'yameinu Mamish. There's another mimer of the Rebbe where he explains that this shofar gadol is an echo that's aroused by the screaming out of the souls of these people that don't know that they're Jews, that they're pushed away, but their souls know, and they scream out, and the echo that comes out is this big shofar that will arouse all of them, because that, in the essence of their soul, is what the Jewish people really want. Wishing everyone a k'tiva v'chetima tova, a blessed, meaningful, holy year with Moshiach now, that we should all see good news, a lot of good news, and only good news, with the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach at our head, and all the Jews happy in Jerusalem. Chag Sameach.